When the printing press was invented nearly 600 years ago, it put an end to centuries of handwritten manuscripts in which scribes, mostly in monasteries, tediously wrote and illustrated sacred texts, such as the Bible. Fred de Sam Lazaro revisits one monastery that brought back that tradition just once, and in the process is helping bridge divides. It's part of our Arts and Culture series, Canvas.
It was a ceremony rife with symbolism, held in a 13th century chapel called the Crypt in London's Lambeth Palace.
Father Abbot, let's have a go.
A special edition of the St. John's Bible, commissioned by an American Catholic monastery, was gifted to the head of the Church of England, who, alongside the American abbot John Clausen, burnished a tiny gold dot on the dedication page.
It's perfect.
His glistens more than mine.
Joking aside, Justin Welby, the Archbishop of Canterbury, had high praise for a glistening addition to the palace library.
This is something of great preciousness as a book. It isn't just a collection of ancient documents. The beauty of the illustrations, I mean, the facing page to Genesis chapter 1 is breathtaking.
The genesis of the St. John's Bible took place nearly 3 decades ago in a Welsh village, where Donald Jackson, a noted calligrapher and scribe to the Queen, dreamed up his own Sistine Chapel project, a handwritten, illuminated Bible. He then brought the idea to the monks at St. John's Abbey and University in Minnesota.
The initial reaction was one of, really? In a world that's going digital? Is this a good thing to do?
Not to most people, perhaps, but these are Benedictine monks.
Historically, writing the word, scribing it, illuminating it, it's deeply woven into monastic DNA. So we moved steadily toward it.
After agreeing to raise several $1 million the effort would cost, the monastery and scriptorium began collaborating, a Minnesota committee of scholars weighing in, informing the art and layout for Jackson and his team of illustrators and scribes.
I'm satisfied with the image itself, but not with the position or scale.
Over fax machines and snail mail, long before FaceTime or Zoom, it took nearly 15 years to complete the 160 illuminations across 1,120 pages of handwritten script. All of it faithful to the ancient methods, quills from feathers, natural inks, and vellum or calfskin, not paper. The text came from the Revised Standard Version of the Bible, accepted by most Christian denominations.
It represents a tree of life. We are all connected.
It's in the illuminations that the St. John's Bible shows its distinctiveness and a sensibility to the modern times. This one, for example, called the Genealogy of Christ, is a menorah-shaped family tree with Hebrew text alongside Latin, also a nod to the third branch of Abrahamic faiths.
I just added the name of Hagar, whose son Ishmael was the ancestor of Muhammad. So I put her name in Arabic.
The pages and artwork of the original St. John's Bible have been exhibited on tours across the United States and even Great Britain, but their permanent home is here at St. John's in Collegeville, Minnesota.
This was never meant to be a museum piece. It was meant to be shared. But in reality, it does need care.
That's Tim Turnus's job as director, or as he puts it, keeper of the pages, which, along with the sketches and raw elements that preceded all the finished art, are meticulously cataloged and stored in a temperature and light-controlled environment.
That it's ready to go to a museum.
In a time of so much polarization, Turnus says, these pages have had something for everyone who's visited the exhibits.
We have people who are non-believers, who are people who are staunch believers, people who are fairly liberal, people who are fairly conservative, and they all come together. And so it does what it's intended to do. For me, the most surprising thing is how truly communal the Bible really is.
The Bible has often been used as a weapon to justify violence against other people.
Abbot Clausen says a key goal of the project is to heal religious divides, and this was an apt place to begin. the very place where in the 16th century the Church of England declared its independence from the Pope and professed its loyalty to King Henry VIII. Henry also ordered monasteries confiscated or destroyed amid the bloody break and the Protestant Reformation.
We are just aware of the enormous, wrenching pain, the most awful, awful conflicts between the Roman Catholic Church and the Anglican Church. And frankly, the loss of the Benedictine world in some respects here in England. So to be burnishing this together with the Archbishop here, we would hope that it would lead to other kinds of communion.
In that spirit, the Anglican Archbishop of Canterbury invited his Catholic guest to co-lead an evening prayer service, the New Bible at its center. In the front pew, the scribe Donald Jackson. Looking back, he says, even as events of our time influenced the artwork, the words themselves influenced the artists. On September 11, 2001, for example, he happened to be working on an illumination of the prodigal son, the parable of a father's enduring love and forgiveness toward a wayward son.
Twin Towers was happening that before my eyes. We were stunned, like everybody else in the world.
The Twin Towers are now part of this biblical illumination.
As I was burnishing the gold leaf on those two tower blocks, which I inserted into the background of the view of the father reaching out to the prodigal son, I realized, because I was feeling hatred, but I realized I can't hate my way out of this. I have to somehow or other find what God was, or Jesus was telling us. We have to love our way out of this.
This so-called Apostles' edition of the St. John's Bible, one of a handful of fine art facsimiles printed on high-quality paper, is dedicated to the late Queen Elizabeth II. It is on display at London's Lambeth Palace Library, where her son, King Charles III, recently popped in for a visit. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Fred de Sam Lazaro in London.